I spent 3 hours last Tuesday sitting in my car in a parking lot, staring at a spreadsheet on my phone, wondering how on earth I was supposed to build any kind of wealth when I couldn't even afford the down payment on a broom closet. The property values in my city have exploded, and my rent feels like it's eating my paycheck before I even get a chance to save for anything else. I thought real estate was a game for the wealthy or the lucky who got in a decade ago. But then I found something that completely changed my math. You don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you definitely don't need to be a landlord to own a slice of the real estate pie. By the end of this, you're going to understand exactly what a REIT is, why it might be the missing piece of your financial puzzle, and how you can start with as little as the cost of a cup of coffee. I'm going to break down the barrier between you and real estate wealth, and I'm not talking about house flipping or taking on massive mortgages. Most people think real estate means buying a physical house or apartment building. That's the dream, right? But for someone struggling with student loans or a tightening monthly budget, that's not just a dream, it's a massive financial risk. If you have $5,000 of credit card debt, you shouldn't be looking at a mortgage. You should be looking at how to make your money grow without the nightmare of maintenance, property taxes, or problematic tenants. REIT, or Real Estate Investment Trust, is a company that owns, operates, or finances income-generating real estate. Think of it like a mutual fund, but instead of stocks, the fund owns shopping malls, hospitals, data centers, or apartment complexes. When you buy a share of a REIT, you're essentially becoming a fractional landlord. You don't deal with the broken pipes or the 3 a.m. emergency calls. The company does that. You just collect your piece of the pie. Here is the secret why investors love them. By law, in the United States, a REIT must pay out at least 90% of its taxable income to shareholders as dividends. A dividend is a distribution of a portion of a company's earnings, paid to the class of its shareholders. This means they are designed to be income machines. If you've ever felt like your high-yield savings account interest is just barely keeping up with inflation, this is a way to potentially earn more, though it comes with more risk than a savings account. And when I say risk, I mean the share price of the REIT can go up and down just like any stock. It's not guaranteed money. But for someone trying to move from just getting by to building a future, it's a way to get exposure to the real estate market without needing a $50,000 down payment. If that just clicked for you, hit the like button. It tells me to keep breaking down these complicated concepts into simple, actionable steps. Let's look at a concrete example. Imagine a company called Storelink. They own 400 self-storage facilities across the country. Every month, thousands of people pay rent to store their furniture, old boxes, and seasonal gear. That rent money comes in, and after the company pays for the electricity, the taxes, and the manager's salary, they have a profit. Because they are a REIT, they have to send most of that profit back to you, the shareholder, in the form of dividends. You could buy one share for, let's say, $120. If that REIT pays a 5% dividend yield, you're getting $6 a year for that single share. It sounds small, but if you consistently add to that position over time, those dividends start to snowball. This is the power of compound interest, where your earnings generate their own earnings. You aren't just saving, you're building a tiny real estate empire one share at a time. Now, you might be asking, why shouldn't I just buy index funds? Index funds are great, and they're a cornerstone of a solid portfolio, but REITs offer a different flavor. They often don't move exactly in sync with the rest of the stock market. This is called diversification. When you diversify, you're spreading your risk across different types of investments so that if one area of the economy struggles, another might hold steady. By having a mix of regular stocks and real estate, you're protecting yourself. If you're currently paying off high-interest debt, please prioritize that first. If your credit card is charging you 22% interest, no investment in the world is going to outperform that debt. Pay off the high-interest stuff first. But once you have your emergency fund and your high-interest debt is gone, exploring REITs is a fantastic way to start putting your money to work in a way that feels tangible. There is an emotional barrier here that we need to address. A lot of people feel like they're not investors because they've never done it before. They feel like they're hiding behind their debt, waiting for a magical moment to start. You're not alone in that feeling. Millions of people in exactly your situation have felt that same anxiety. The trick is to stop thinking about investing as a big, scary, lump sum event and start thinking about it as a series of small, boring, consistent actions. You don't need a brokerage account with $10,000 to start. Many apps now let you buy fractional shares for as little as $1 or $5. If you can skip one takeout meal this week, you can start your real estate portfolio. Does that sound like a plan? Tell me in the comments, what is the biggest thing holding you back from starting your investment journey? Is it fear, lack of funds, or just not knowing where to look? I read every single comment, and I want to know what's on your mind. Let's talk about the tax side, because this is where a lot of people leave money on the table. REIT dividends are often taxed differently than regular stock dividends. Because they are paid out of the company's operating income, they don't always qualify for the lower long-term capital gains tax rates. This is why many financial experts suggest holding REITs inside a tax-advantaged account, like a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA is an individual retirement account where you pay taxes on the money before you put it in, but the growth and the withdrawals in retirement are tax-free. If you hold your REITs there, you don't have to worry about the yearly tax headache. You just let the dividends reinvest automatically. This is a game changer for someone with a normal income who needs to be as efficient as possible with every single dollar they earn. There's a massive misconception that you have to be a genius to pick the right REIT. The reality is, for most of us, picking individual stocks or individual REITs is a lot of work and carries a lot of risk. If you pick the wrong company, you could lose a significant chunk of your money. Instead, you can look at REIT ETFs. An ETF, or exchange-traded fund, is a basket of many different stocks or REITs that you buy as one single product. By buying a REIT ETF, you're buying a tiny slice of hundreds of different real estate properties all at once. If one mall goes out of business or one office building has vacancies, it doesn't sink your whole ship because you own so many others. It's the don't put all your eggs in one basket strategy, but automated. It takes the stress out of the equation and lets you participate in the real estate market without needing to be an expert in property management. I want to be very clear about the risks, though. If we enter a recession, real estate can take a hit. If interest rates stay high, it makes it more expensive for these companies to borrow money to buy new properties, which can hurt their stock price. There's no such thing as a safe investment that pays well. Every investment is a trade-off between risk and reward. That's why you never, ever invest money that you might need for your rent next month or your car repair next week. Your emergency fund, that 3 to 6 months of expenses, should stay in a safe, high-yield savings account. That's your safety net. Investments are for the money you can afford to leave alone for at least 5 or 10 years. If you know someone who is struggling with the idea that they'll never own a home, send this to them. It might change their entire perspective on what's possible for their future. You don't need to be a landlord to benefit from rising rents or the growth of commercial real estate. You just need to change how you look at your wallet. Instead of just a tool for spending, start looking at it as a tool for owning. Every time you buy a share of a REIT, you're buying a little bit of the physical world. You're owning a piece of the building where someone is running a business, or the apartment complex where someone is living. You're shifting from being a consumer to being an owner. And that shift in identity is the first step toward true financial independence. It's not about how much you make right now, it's about how much of what you make you can turn into assets that work for you. If you're feeling overwhelmed, just take the first step. Open a brokerage account, transfer $50, and buy your first fractional share. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be started. Once you see that first dividend payment hit your account, even if it's only a few cents, it changes something in your brain. You see that your money is actually doing something. It's working while you sleep. It's a small, beautiful realization that you're finally in control. We're going to be talking a lot more about how to optimize these investments in a follow-up video called How to Build a Dividend Portfolio from Scratch, so keep an eye out for that. You've got the power to turn your financial situation around, one small decision at a time. Millions of people were exactly where you are, and they built their way out by being consistent and patient. You're not alone, and you're absolutely capable of doing this. Stick to the plan, stay focused on your goals, and keep moving forward. You've got this.